の苦痛は幻ではない。71時間59分59秒。
What's going on, guys? LoganJYA here, and welcome to my long-awaited update to Infernity in 2021, August 2021, so be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and shout out to your playmat, link in the description down below, and to my boy Brom Poke, who actually performed extremely well at our free weekly tournament with Infernity Synchro. So if this video gets over 50 likes, we're going to be doing a profile on the Synchro variant of Infernity. So without further ado, let's get into the combo tutorial and then the deck profile. What's going on, guys? LoganJYA here, and before we get into this Infernity deck profile, as per usual, we are going to do a combo tutorial with a quick test hand. Now, before we get into this list, I want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Brom Poke. He actually played a Synchro Infernity variant at our free weekly tournament, the GG for free. Find out more about that if you want to play in the description down below. And I was blown away by his results. And in the near future, we're actually going to be doing a deck profile on the Synchro variant of this build. But to kind of tease the appetite, we're going to start with the build that I'm more comfortable with, which is the Link Climb build, and I'm going to show you what we can do with this test hand and the updates I've made to this list. So starting things off here, this hand is completely fine here, guys. This is really good, especially considering we hard opened with the launcher, which is really going to enable us later in our plays. But to start things off, we'll set these two cards face down, and we'll shoot off our tour guide. One of our copies of Necromancer, like so. Then we'll turn these two up into a Cherubini on top. But we can use this Cherubini to either send our Archfiend or send our Rhino, well, you know, send Rhino to send Heiress to add Archfiend, or we can use it to send Stygian, whichever one we need. Now that we open up with the Danger Mothman, that is going to be our next nut to bust, just so we can go continue to play. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll just roll this dice. 4, 5, 6, which means we're pitching the Mothman itself. The Stygian staying in hand will use its effect to draw one card and then discard one card. Now, since our board is relatively free, we are going to use the effect of Patriarch to special summon here. Now, like I said, we can play a little bit more ignorantly since we do have the launcher already lined up. But next thing we're going to do is send the Cherubini. That will foolish our Rhino, and then Rhino's effect will send our Heiress, and Heiress's effect will add our one copy of Archfiend. Seriously, Konami, where are my other two copies? Why are you doing this to me? I want to play with 3 Archfiend. Anyway, I digress. We're going to banish that Stygian to special summon the Archfiend, an Archfiend effect, since we already have Launcher in Roto. In this situation, I'm going to line up our first interruption with the Barrier. In fact, I think we already hard opened one, but it doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do next is, we got plenty of monsters in our graveyard. We're going to go into the Dugaris the Timeless. Like I said, if they nib us here, we don't care because we have the launcher. We're still going to be able to full combo through a nib. We're going to bring back that Necromancer. Necromancer effect is going to summon our Archfiend, and our Archfiend is going to be used to search. Here, I'm going to use it to grab a second copy of Necromancer. Next, we're going to link off. We'll leave the Necromancer on the field, and we'll turn these 3 up into a YuGiOh on the top. Use YuGiOh's effect to special summon from hand. We don't really want to use the draw effect because there's not much we could draw into that would be beneficial in this particular build. We'll use Necromancer's effect to summon back Archfiend, and Archfiend's effect will search. This will get us our first copy of Mirage. Now again, we have yet to launch. We have yet to launch, so we can keep sending. We can full send as hard and as long as we want to. That sounded a little bit suggestive, but I assure you it wasn't. YouTube, please don't ban me from your algorithm. Next, we'll use Levier's effect, Detach 1, to bring back that Stygian Street Patrol. This is going to be a big enable right here. Now that we have 3 free monsters on the board that we can just kind of, you know, bust away, I think we can turn this into our big PP 4-piece Appaloosa on the top. So this is going to give us our first 4 monster negates on the top. And like I said, if we were hand trapped before this, that launcher would be very, very essential to continue playing. But now we are super duper safe. We can use our Stygian Street Patrol that we put back into the graveyard to banish and special summon our first copy of Mirage. Use Mirage's effect tributing itself to summon back Necromancer and Necromancer. Use Necromancer's effect, summon out Archfiend. Archfiend effect will search. Here we can grab another interruption in the form of another Barrier. Link these 2 off, and we'll summon our first part of the Tri-Gate lock, which will be our Cerberus here on the far right. Necromancer effect, summon Archfiend. Archfiend effect will search. Interruption in the form of our Infernity break. So we'll set that face down here. We are now fully locked and loaded with all of our interruptions, but we still have a lot more plays to make, so we can finish up building the board. So we'll link these 2 off to summon any one of our space takers. In this case, we'll use the barricade board blocker. Then we'll use our launcher, right? So we'll launch it off. We'll summon back 2 monsters, 2 Necromancers. We'll use Necromancer's effect to summon out Archfiend. And at this point, we're actually not going to use Archfiend's effect to search. We're actually going to link 2 off since we have all of our interruptions already unlocked, since we hard opened with one of the barriers. We're going to set up our Tri-Gate over here now. Then we'll use the other copy of Necromancer's effect to bring out Archfiend, and this time we actually will search off of the Archfiend to grab ourselves another copy of Necromancer. Next, we'll overlay our 2 Necromancers to summon Leviair the Sea Dragon. Leviair's effect will detach 1 to summon back Stygian Street Patrol. Next, we will make some room first. We'll link these 2 off into any expendable monster. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to throw down an IP. And then we can turn these 2 into the Phoenix over here on the far right to finish off our Tri-Gate lock. And then we will use the effect in the graveyard of our Stygian Street Patrol, banish, special summon Necromancer. Necromancer effect will bring back Archfiend. And theoretically, if we had another form of interruption in our deck, we could add it here. But I'm only playing the 3 barriers and the 1 break in this current build. But look at this board, alright? We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 forms of disruption. Okay, look at that. So we've got 3 barriers, we've got a break that will be able to pop, and we've got protection from our Archfiend in the form of Patriarch. So if our opponent tries to go battle and turn off all of our barriers, we could be like, see ya, chump, Patriarch's gonna take care of business. Anyway guys, let's get into the new list. What's going on guys, LoganJYA here, and I'm happy to bring you an update to my Infernity deck profile. This is one of the videos that's done the best on my channel. It's one of the decks that I have the absolute most fun with. Gotta preface this with a shout out to my boy Broughton Poke. If this video smashes over 50 likes, I will be posting the Synchro variant of Infernity, so I can't wait to show you guys that. And yeah, that's heavily inspired by my man Broughton Poke, who played in our recent free tournament and kicked butt with it. So without further ado, let's get into this version of the list, and I'll also point out the things that his list inspired me to start playing, as well as the comments from you guys that inspired me to start playing some of these new tech cards. So starting things off, we've got the 1 Archfiend. As I mentioned in the combo tutorial, where are the other 2, Konami? Come on buddy, let's get to it, okay? Are you gonna wait till we get Sage? I mean, I'm okay with that. I just want it. I want it. Let me have it. Anyway, 1 Archfiend, because it's at 1. Triple Infernity Mirage. In this build, the triple Mirage does come up. Sometimes you really need to bust that nut, continue to bring back, so you can set up your full 8 to 9 negate board and just flip your opponent the bird. Moving on from there, we've got triple Infernity Necromancer. I am playing a thick package here, but that's because when you have them in hand, you're going to use them to pitch to your grave. You want to fuel that graveyard because you're going to play out of it for the entirety of your turn. And then finally, for the last Infernity monster, we have the 1 Infernity Patriarch, which combos into our Dugaris, which either brings back Necromancer or Archfiend, which lets us to continue our plays. Moving on from there in the monsters, we got our first support package, which is the 1 Danger Tsuchinoko, the 1 Danger Jackalope, and then I am playing 2 of the Danger Mothman. I bounce back between 2 and 3 on this one. That hasn't changed. I was just playing 3 earlier, but I cut one of them for another tech card, which I will mention a little bit later on. Moving on from there, I'm still main decking triple the Stygian, because Stygian plus of the Void Apocalypse really gets you into your plays, so I think it's good to max out on this card. It also combos very well with the Dangers if this gets thrown away, or your card Destruction, things of that nature. Just lets you keep playing. And then moving on from there, I'm still only doing double Tour Guide, so the logic behind this is that Tour Guide is one of the most dead cards in your hand if you see it in 2s, and you have to discard it, get it out of there in any way possible. So I think only 2 is fine. It on its own is not full combo, but it combined with either Void Apocalypse or another Inferni monster in hand, it can get you there. However, like I said, the risk of seeing it in multiples can be a little dangerous, and it doesn't do as much when you're fueling your graveyard with a card like Tour Guide, where it's just sitting there as a name. And finally, we've got the Rhino and the Heiress. So the Rhino sends either the Heiress or the Stygian off of your Cherubini, which lets you to continue play, or you can summon this off of your Tour Guide and do the same exact thing, and obviously Heiress searches your 1 of Archfiend to your hand. Moving on from there, into the spell lineup, this is one of those hot tech cards that both Bra and Poke played, and I had a lot of recommendations for in the comments of the last Infernity profile we did. Drag Down into the Grave is your anti-hand trap card in a deck that really can't make maximum advantage of Called by the Grave, because if you set it on your first turn to empty out to enable your handless combo, then you can't activate it that turn. This card lets you sneak a peek at your opponent's hand, see exactly what you're running into, rip out an interruption if there so be's one, and then continue to play also while fueling your graveyard. It's technically a -1, but you don't care because you don't want that many cards in your hand. You just want a full combo. So this card is phenomenal. Highly recommend. I think it was a great addition. Shout out to Braun Poke and you guys for those comments. Next, Triple Void Apocalypse. This is an additional copy of Foolish Burial pretty much that also helps you empty out your hand. This plus Stygian really does get you there. Follow that up with our going second cards. Not as many in this particular build, but I'm still doing double droplets in the one Dark Ruler. Pretend this is the third droplets, as I say in almost all of my profiles. Droplets is theoretically better because it helps you empty out that hand, but this lets you play against things like the Winda, things like the Apollosa, gives you a chance against the Drytron board. The cool thing is you might be able to, if you snipe him with the droplets, still play through the one orange light, which is really cool. Following up from there, we've got the one Launcher, the one Upstart Goblin. Lots of power 1-ups here. One Into the Void, one Foolish Burial, one Card Destruction, one 1-for-1, which summons Mirage, and then one Monster Reborn, and then this is another new addition that was in Braun Poke's list, as well as in the comments of the last video. World Legacy Succession is basically an additional copy of Monster Reborn. Lets you bring back your Necromancer, your Archfiend, get an additional search, help you play through interruptions in case there is one. It's really strong card, so I think it's something fun to try out, and it's better than Zero Max because it doesn't cause your guy to miss timing. Moving on from there, the trap cards, really easy stuff. We're doing triple barrier and then one break. So we changed the hand trap negator, you know, the cards you can activate when it's first set, to the break, because Braun Poke made a really good point when I was talking to him. He mentioned how you really only punish a really dumb opponent if you resolve the set card on your first turn to play through an interruption. And Break is an objectively better card. You've already got the Appaloosa putting up 3 to 4 monster negates. You don't really need an additional monster negate, especially when you have triple barrier. So the Break providing that bit more fluidity in terms of a pop in case your opponent is somehow able to inherently special summon 2 monsters on the field to run into the Archfiend twice. Break takes care of business there. It's a really, really good card, and I highly think that this is better to be used than the others, the Suppression, the Infernity Suppression. Now moving on from the main board, let's go into the extra deck. Starting things off, we got the Cherubini, the Barricade Board Blocker, the IP Masquerena, and for the Nightmare package, we've got Phoenix, Cerberus, and Unicorn. Unicorn is more of your follow-up turn play, or if you're going second for removal, obviously, and to climb into your access code. These are essential for your Tri-Gate lock as well as removal, so they serve double duty there. Speak of the Devil and he shall appear. There's Tri-Gate Wizard, one of your best Omni negates, that also can help you clear out cards from your own field. If you have to banish either your Void Apocalypse or a set card that you didn't end up using this turn, you can use Tri-Gate Wizard to do so to make extra room in your back row, which is really, really good. The one access code Talker to clear out games on turn 2. The one Appaloosa, obviously essential. In this particular build, I'm still rocking hard with triple Saryuja Skull Dread. You could cut one of these. One of these is definitely a flex spot, but I'm sticking with the triple in case you need to go through your combo without playing Stygian. If you don't have Stygian in rotation, triple Saryuja lets you still get to the full end board. Follow that up with a double copy of Leviair the Sea Dragon to recur your Stygian, and finally the one Dugaris to bring back either Necromancer or Archfiend, and it really gets you into your plays. Combos great with the Patriarch. Next, I'm going to get into the side deck. We do have a pretty good side deck put together for this list that can give it a chance against the current meta, right? This is a bit more of a casual rogue deck, but it's got one of the highest ceilings out of any rogue deck in existence, and it will only get better when we get cards like Sage that are coming in from the OCG, and when we get Archfiend to 3, Konami, do it now! Anyway, moving on. We got triple Artifact Lancia, 100%. This is a card that we can play even though it's a monster hand trap. It's really good. It does a lot of double duty, you know. Hits the Mech Knights, hits the Orcust, hits the Phantom Knights, hits the Tri-Brigade, the biggest one. And the cool thing about this is that if we draw it for turn or it's stuck in our hand, we can literally set it to the back row and forget about it. That's why we're allowed to play this in Infernity. Moving on from there, triple Twin Twisters. Twin Twisters is really important in the current meta to deal with things like Tri-Brigade, to deal with things like Anti-Spell Fragrance. You gotta be clearing out that back row, and since this lets you discard, it lets you get an extra card out of your hand. You can afford the discard outlet in this deck. In fact, it does you a little bit of a favor, especially when you're going second, because you get to pitch cards that you weren't really gonna use. Moving on from there, we've got a hard going first option, Prohibition. You use this to call the hand trap that will stop you from comboing off, pretty much. That's what you gotta do. Now, here's the thing. You don't ever call Dark Ruler or Droplets, because you don't care if they have it, because Barrier, Negate, Smile. You're really, really fine. You use this to stop the hand traps, and this plus Drag Down to the Grave, if you see both, you are literally golden. You look at your opponent's hand, and you can not only take out one interruption, if they have two interruptions, you call the other one and be like, alright, now you can't play with that card. Or you call an engine piece. Say you bricked, you just call an engine piece out of your opponent and say, alright, well now you can't play until you remove this. So this card is phenomenal. Moving on from there, we've got something else that's a high impact card to remove a lot in certain matchups. Triple Evenly Matched. This card is cracked as another going second option, and again, it doesn't inhibit your Infernity plays because you can set it and forget it. Same thing with the Infinite Impermanence. This card's very important against Tri-Breach. You can bring it against Drytron. It does a lot of work. So we're definitely playing the Infinite Impermanence in this list. Unfortunately, we can't play Droll because that is a hand trap that we have trouble getting rid of out of the hand, so unfortunately we're unable to play that one. But that is everything, guys, for my Infernity deck profile, August 2021. I did a terrible job sliding out those cards there, but you get the idea. We've got these beautiful Infernities right in here, right? Look at that guy. Look at him. Gorgeous. Don't forget to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to get this video past 50 likes and we'll do Infernity Synchro profile next. And I've got other Infernity profiles brewing in the background, so show us the support, show us the love on this video, and we'll keep them rocking and rolling. That's all I got today. LoganJYA signing off. Have a great day. So